Happy Thursday.
Happy almost Halloween.
Oh yeah, it's tomorrow. Crap. Well, yeah. I don't even know, man.
I mean, there's the other thing we should say is F the Dodgers. Woo! World Series, man. Come on.
It is?
Yeah.
So that explains when I flew into LA and I was picking up the rental car. As I'm like driving out, the guy's like, "Oh, it says you're only gonna be, you're only using the car for 24 hours. Are you here for the Dodgers?" And I'm like, "No." I was like, "Should I be?" I had no idea. Okay, well that explains.
Always over Halloween, or usually, I should say.
Is it?
I've never associated those together, ever.
All right. Well, I guess I'm weird. So
I've never watched.
Nick, back me up here. Come on.
Yep, I'm staying out of this one.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna apologize right off the bat. I am going to be eating and drinking stuff, and I know that some people get offended. They're like, "How dare you do your live stream while eating?" Well, too bad.
If they
Just
want
come
to
from work and you're still working,
do a podcast,
right? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Technically, I'm still working, so that means this is turning into like a 14-hour day now. So y'all can just shut up because I'm tired. All right. The only good news is I'm drinking beer on the job, so that's kind of nice.
hey, yeah, your boss lets you do that. That's nice.
Is that okay? It's okay. Good. My lord. This week has just been, but I'm waiting for the week at which I can say that this week was calm, but I don't foresee that happening for a while.
Well, that's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And bad.
So Rachel, our consultant, whatever you call it, that's been answering the phones, emails, managing the website, the parts website, doing that stuff. She actually was in the shop today. She comes in maybe once a month or so, just sync up, whatever. And she was asking me some questions about like the future of the company and how to grow and this and that and some stuff. And she's asking, she's like, she's asking me about like what I do and the things that I do and what could be delegated out and some other stuff. And it was kind of fascinating because like some of the questions she asked me were really provoking, like, holy crap, like there's some stuff I need to really figure out like immediately. And we're to the point where I think Josh and I are tapped out. Like we've hit the limit of what we can do for the company. And so we're getting to a point where we have to start finding other people, which sucks because it's going to be expensive, but at the same time, it's necessary.
Yeah.
So I'm like, crap, I really need to like start investigating hiring some full-time participants because I'm tapped out. Like I don't have enough hours in the day to do the things that I have on my list of crap to do. And what scares me is I have very frequently now, I start the day and I say, here's the X things I need to do. And let's say, even if I get all X things in that same day, X plus 5 things will come up that needs to be done. And I'm like, well, shit. So now it's like, even though I did all this crap, I'm actually still behind for the next day. Like I can't even get ahead. And then it piles up. So then there's, those 5 extra things I can't get done. And then the next day there's 5 more things and then 5 more things. And so it's like, oh, this is not good. So yeah.
Yep. I had to ended up like getting one of those electric notepads, like e-ink notepads, and just keeping a running to-do list where I can then just erase something. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
But it's always like, oh, now I'm on page 3. So I'm forgetting what's on page 1 and 2.
You just have a reminder how far behind you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there in front of you.
Well, we were discussing how do we, as a company, take some of these tasks that are distributed across multiple people and keep them organized, and then assign them, and then check them off as they get done, so that we're not duplicating efforts and stuff. And that was, and I'm open to if anyone has a great suggestion of that. Like we discussed, like, do we do Trello? Do we do like one of these electronic things? I don't really want to spend a ton of money on one of these things because I haven't been that impressed with any of those software things I've ever done. And so I was like, maybe we just literally start a Google Doc. And that way all of us can access it and all of us can edit it at the same time. I mean, it's stupid simple, but it's effective. Yeah, the problem with large whiteboards is that then if you're not at home,
if you're running around,
which is that's a very significant portion of our time is not at home. So I don't know, we're hitting these moments of growth that are awesome, but also like crap.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't found a tool I like Asana, Notion, whatever the one you said, Trello.
I used that for a while at one of my previous things, and it was okay.
They all kind of suck,
and they're expensive. They're like because they all have like per user licensing, and it's like $10-$20 a month per user. It's so like you start getting 3-4 people on it, it's like quickly adds up to hundreds of dollars a month, and you're like, well, this is dumb. So yeah. Anyway, that's just some of the crap that's like today that was going on. Rachel was there. Rachel and I synced up, got stuff done. And then, so actually before Rachel even got there first, God, yeah. All right. So I had to go in early because first they had to drop off. I had some parts dropped off. I had the Porsche get dropped off. I had the guy who used to own the GT500 had to swing by and drop off the parts that he took off the car, because shortly after that, the guy who bought the car showed up and took the car. Of course, the car couldn't fit all the parts in it, so now we have to figure out shipping for those parts.
Of course.
Then Rachel shows up. Then, and I had some of the parts I bought from O'Reilly's didn't show up, so I had to call O'Reilly's and figure out where the hell they were, and then those were getting delivered. And then I'm trying to think, there's like 25 things that all happened in a very short period of time. And then it kind of had this crescendo where so a guy was like, oh, he's supposed to come look at the Porsche at some time and didn't really have a time. And then while we're sitting there doing that, we had like 5-6 people interested in the black 458. And so we're dealing with emails and phone calls about that. And one of the guys like, hey, I live in Austin. I want to come see the car. We're like, okay. So he's like, hey, I can be there in like an hour or two. And I'm like, okay, the Porsche guy is coming. That guy's coming. I don't know who's going to get there when. Okay, but sure. Yes. So the Porsche guy shows up. Take him for a test drive. We do that whole thing. I don't know if he's gonna buy it or not. And then literally he's driving away and the other guy's pulling in the driveway. Nice. And I'm like, shit. So I don't even have time to do anything about that. So then I start dealing with the 458 guy. And as soon as he wraps up, then it's now like 4-something in the afternoon. And my one goal for the day was to change the brakes on my truck because they were gone. Actually, I should show a picture of it. They weren't just like the pad was gone. The pad was grinding into the metal.
Oh, dang.
And so like, it was one of those where every time I pushed the brake pedal, it was like, and I'm like, oh God, like, please stop. So I knew I was like, I'm past my safety threshold for the brakes on this thing. Like we're in the like, oh shit, like, is it going to stop phase? And so I had to stay until like 7:00 at night, change out my brakes. Yeah. What do you see, bud? Are you just taking my French fries?
Smart.
I love how there's just like a little blonde noggin right next to me. Oh, he's like, I got a French fry.
Happy pie.
Can you say hi?
Hi.
Say hello, YouTube.
Hello, Nico.
Should I let him just keep eating your fries?
I don't care if he eats the fries,
Okay,
whatever.
Because otherwise, I'm gonna give him a bath once he's done.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
he's.
You want to eat fries? Okay.
You can have more French
You can have
fries.
dude. We don't care.
Philip said he thought you said no more Porsches. What's going
So
on?
we don't actively seek out Porsches. This one's a consignment. We didn't buy it, and I just lied because actually we just bought a Porsche yesterday.
Because like all bad things in times of desperation.
Yeah.
Mine.
That's yours. Yeah.
No.
Was that the trade-in?
No.
Is that
So so we have the consignment Porsche, and then another person. I'm going out to look at a Porsche on trade on Tuesday of next week.
Oh, it's two. Okay, yeah.
So that might happen. But there's another Porsche that I believe I have to confirm with Josh, but I believe we bought yesterday. And there's a long story behind it, so I don't want to get into it of why we bought it. And actually it's kind of awesome. But yeah.
All right. Curious to
We
hear
aren't-
afterwards.
We're not like actively going out trying to find Porsches just because they are harder to sell for us. Like we're just not in.
Oh damn.
Oh shit! He just slammed the door and Meg. That's funny. Yeah. Well, oh man, Porsches. Yeah. Ugh. Have you ever had to deal with Porsche stuff, Nick?
Not a whole lot, no.
Lucky.
Like the DME readouts and all that crap.
No. So whenever you get them on trade, honestly, anytime we took anything on trade that wasn't a Ferrari, it just got wholesaled pretty much immediately.
Yeah, that's kind of. I feel like Porsches are at least in tune with what we're trying to do enough to where we can sell them usually, but they are harder for us to sell. Like, it's not that they're hard to sell, but they're harder than the Ferrari. Like, I feel like the Ferraris, especially right now, we get a Ferrari and it's sold. I mean, just almost immediately. And the Porsches tend to sit for a month or two, which isn't awful, but it's a lot slower than the Ferraris.
Look good.
And then the other problem is the Porsches don't have anywhere near the same margin. Like the margin on a Porsche is like
Hi.
half of a Ferrari.
Look.
And it's partly because there's so many Porsches that I just feel like the market kind of it's almost like they're more commoditized, like a regular car, where it's just everyone knows exactly what they're worth and what they're going to sell for. So there's just that's it. Like you're going to make $2,000-$3,000 on that car, and that's it. That's all you get. Which when you're buying a $200-something thousand GT3 RS or whatever, and you're only going to make like $4,000 or something, you're like, that is not worth the risk. You know, that is way too much money to only make $4,000 because all it takes is like bad tires and one other thing, and now you're losing your ass. So,
Heaven forbid the rotors are gone on it.
yeah, something like that, and now you're just toast. You're losing your ass. What are you doing?
Do you need assistance?
Yeah, don't.
Are you having him in your lap? Or
I
do you want me to
guess.
take him?
Turkey Man, do you want to go take a bath?
Nope.
No.
Smart man.
You shouldn't have asked that question.
Hey.
With the Porsches, though, it really is. There's so many of them. So I mean, a buyer can be really specific about what they want, versus you buy a
What
Ferrari.
the?
Push him out. whenever
Exactly.
you're ready.
The first thing you really have to think about is the car good versus the Porsche. There's lots of good cars,
Yeah. No, that's part of the problem is I feel like there's a lot of options out there. If you're like, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna buy a 991.1 GT3. There's probably a couple hundred of them for sale of various colors, all sorts of different options, lots of price points, right? Like it's just you've got options. But if you're like, oh, I want to buy a 458, there's like maybe 60 or 70 for sale, period. And then you start getting to like, oh, and I want it to be this color. Okay, that now you're down to like 15 cars available. So, it's totally different. No, don't drink my beer. Why don't you go to Mama? Go to Mama. Okay.
Oh, that's how you get 86th.
Yeah.
I think we can follow Daniel's comment here. This last one, because I think this is very true right now.
Oops. I clicked it as you clicked it.
Yep.
The Porsche community and fad right now is crazy.
Very strong. Yeah.
I mean,
There is a strangeness about it, isn't there?
yeah, it is. It's amazing. Just
The math doesn't work for the ADMs and stuff. Like they're marking up these cars to astronomical numbers, and you're like, but they're going to sell a crap ton of them. So why are you paying all this extra money for this car that's not going to be that rare? I don't know. And then like they're holding value in a weird way that kind of is like, I feel like the older Porsches are rarer, more interesting and whatever, but the brand new stuff, they're just pumping them out.
yeah. Well, I mean, the old cars legitimately are rare. Like if you look at like 997.23 RS, I think there's like 150, 200 in the country.
Yeah.
Versus like the new one is crazy. But all the new ones are depreciating. They lose their ADMs pretty quickly now. But it's just I just can't believe how many people are buying them. We go to the weekly show over here, and it's just like nonstop GT cars.
They're almost as common as a Corvette.
Yeah.
It's getting to be where like you see 3RSs as much as you see Z06s.
If not more often in Austin.
Yeah. In Austin, it's probably more often. Yeah, right? Because there's more money. It just is strange. Like, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're amazing cars. They're wonderful cars. But I just feel like the ADMs especially is like, what?
Yeah.
That to me is, yeah, as John said, like $300,000 car with an ADM on top. It's like, holy crap. Yeah, no thank you.
Just to trigger Hugh a little bit more there.
Yeah, just
grind that knife in.
Yeah. Anyway, again, I'm not opposed to doing Porsches, but I think we're kind of in our own little niche. Like we got the Ferrari stuff down pretty good. We know them very well. We've tried Porsches. I'm not going to be. It's not like when someone's like, "Oh, will you take a Porsche on trade?" We're gonna be like, "No." It's just I'm going to be like, "Maybe let's get the details on it, and then if it's the right price or whatever." So, which to us, that's the problem is we're going to have to get Porsches in on trade below wholesale because we're probably going to have wholesale as a backup. Right. So like if the wholesale price on a Porsche is 150 and they want to trade it in on a 458, that's 200,000. We're probably going to say like, okay, we'll give you like 140 because I want to be able to turn around and sell it for 150 at wholesale if I have to. So there you go.
I'll throw Hugh a bone. How about this one? How was the collab, Nick? F1.
Oh, it was good. I had a great time. Busy.
Which was better, F1 or the collab?
It was all a blur. Every year I go down there for F1, it's never a vacation because we're just busy at the track, out in the weather, the wind, the heat.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Eating and drinking. I got a 2-hour time change for me every time I go down there, but with doing stuff with Dan before F1 and then rolled immediately in the F1 and then immediately back to Dan. I got back here, flew back late Wednesday night, got in like at midnight, and then I had Thursday off before I rolled into my other job. And I was pretty much a zombie on Thursday. I got here and I was just kind of staring at a wall.
Yep, I believe it.
Yeah.
So,
That sounds about right.
but no, it was good. It was a good trip. A lot of stuff was packed into a pretty short time frame.
Sounds about right. That's
Yeah.
doing F1 right.
Yeah.
I feel like if you come to F1 and you're like, oh, that was relaxing, like you did F1 poorly.
Yeah.
And you get to go to a Howard party, so that's always cool.
Yeah. So how did all the other dudes, what did they say about the Howard after they got dropped off and stuff? Were they just like, what just happened?
I think to a certain degree. I mean, they didn't really know what to expect. They were pretty surprised by it, and I mean, they're not the most social group of guys like going out to doing that kind of thing, but it was cool to go there and see it and see the cars, the F1 car. I think they were the most excited about that because you just don't get that close to true F1 cars.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So they have a
We've
legit one
upgraded
there.
it since you left. It's now.
Oh yeah, just after you left,
Yeah.
they swapped
Yeah.
that out for a Ferrari.
Oh,
And it's a factory
Nice.
replica too. It's like got a serial
Yeah.
number and everything. So.
yep. So no, it was they had a good time. Loved the coaster bus.
Yep.
We
Someone
couldn't
needs to
seal
buy
the
that.
deal on the sale for you. We tried,
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right.
but yeah, it was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun to be able to have them go do that stuff. I'm glad it sounds like they had fun.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
it's always the mismatch of the exterior versus the interior.
Yeah.
It looks like a rundown swingers club, but the inside.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a shady warehouse in an industrial area.
Yeah.
And the best part is like because the parking lot's overflowing, you have to like park across the street where it's even more shady.
Yeah. There's
And then like
gunshots
walk
in the
over
distance.
and like there's like barely any street lights and shit, and you're like, what are we doing? Like this is some like what drug dealing like homeless person are we going to see right now? And then you walk through the front door and you're like, what the hell?
Well, I mean, from their perspective too, I'm like, hey guys, we're going somewhere. Someone's picking us up. Just be ready by this time. They don't have a whole lot of clue what's going on and who's
Oh,
picking us
that's
up and
even
who
better.
this person is and what's going on.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And then you show up in a Japanese bus, like, all right, what's what the hell? And then you get dropped off in an industrial park. And we walk over to a warehouse. Like, what? I guess the only giveaway though is like as you're walking in the parking lot, there's a bunch of like McLarens and Ferraris and whatever, and so you're like, okay, like something's going on here.
Can't be all bad.
Yeah, it
Well,
can't be
it's not as
totally.
much on the party nights though, because people are Ubering and stuff. So actually, the
That's
parking
true.
lot wasn't quite as stacked.
Yeah. Oh, dude, when we were hilariously, I should tell Richard this. When we were walking back to the bus, we were walking on a sidewalk, and this lady was in the parking lot for the place across the street, and she was like yelling at us, "This is private property," and all this shit. I'm like, I'm not parked there. I'm parked on the street. Well, you need to tell them to get out of our property. I'm like, okay. So we're gonna have them towed. I'm like, go for it.
Yeah. Not my
They're-
business.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Like if some dumbass parked there, that's their fault, man. Let's see here. You haven't been able to like any of my videos? Like when you click like, it just doesn't like. It's
Yeah,
busted.
the thumbs down works fine for me. I don't know about.
Oh, okay, well, that's totally fine.
Engagement, still engagement.
Yeah. Hey, some of my highest performing videos have the highest ratio of dislike.
That's probably true.
Sadly, I think that's incredibly true.
Yep.
I mean, drama sells. It always has. And drama is not necessarily always like to your benefit.
Oh, Kevin's having the issue too.
What the hell is my computer doing? It's like barking about something. There. Anyway. Oh, here you go. What's the average price of 458 Spider under 20,000 miles? I don't have a exact number for you, but I would guess probably in the 240 range for low mile 458 Spider. So I feel like a low mile 458 coupe is 220 to 230. So Spider is probably 240 to 250.
That checks out.
It could even be a little bit higher if it's like a high option, lots of carbon fiber, maybe some rare stuff, carbon seats and stuff. You probably are talking 260s, 270s.
Yeah,
So they're up right now, especially the Spiders.
Yep.
Yeah, the Charger sold. I don't know how many people saw that at Mecum. The Charger sold for 55 grand. So we're pretty pleased with that. I think did we talk about that already? Or was that
that was before. Before
that
we
was
were-
prior?
Yeah.
Speaking of the person who knows the details, we just brought up the Charger.
Oh, I just got to my hotel. I couldn't take it anymore.
How did that go down? How was the experience when they were selling it?
Cool. I they kind of trail the cars in and then they go across the block.
Yeah.
And so there's a car that's on the block and then the car that's up is on deck, right? And then so there's a spot like a podium that you stand at if you're the seller that says on deck and it says seller in front of it. It's like this podium. And then I talked to the guy, the main guy that kind of calls out the bids or whatever. And he's like, what do you want to take for it? I see what your reserve is. What do we need to do to make a deal? And I talked to him for a minute and then the next car finishes and that car rolls up. And then I move over to the seller's podium and it kind of just like the bidding started right away. And he kept looking at me and he's like, okay, we're good. And I'm like, sell it. And he turned the reserve off and it went up another 10 grand and sold it. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Did they because you were a seller, did they give you free drinks and shit? Or
I wish. No, they didn't.
Oh man. So how much is a beer?
It was $12 for a beer.
Oh.
I did not buy a beer.
Yeah. Smuggle your own in. Damn.
No, I didn't buy any. I didn't buy any food either because the food there was like a chicken tender basket was $20 or something.
What?
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm good.
Damn. How much is parking?
35.
God.
They get you on everything.
Oh yeah.
They are just printing money.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Oof. God damn.
There is a lot of cars there. And I was a little disappointed. Like most of the Mecums we've been to and the Barretts and everything, all the cars are inside.
Yeah.
Well, they're all in a parking garage.
Oh yeah.
So
can you walk the parking garage?
Yeah. It's open.
okay.
It's a 5-floor parking garage and it's just filled with cars.
Dang.
Okay, so that's where I was dropping them off, was in the bottom of the parking garage.
Yeah, and so they're all staged in the parking garage. I mean, it's not bad because the weather's nice now. But if the weather sucked, if it was cold or hot, it would kind of suck.
Yeah.
And I went into your GT40 and it was super dusty.
Mm.
I'm like, so bring a duster or something when you.
Well, they'll clean it off, won't they?
I watch their detail guys, before they go through, and they just like some lazy dudes. They just spray some quick detailer on and go like this, and it's like all hazy and shit. So
Don't trust that.
it's terrible.
Great.
I'd be like, don't touch my car, please.
That makes me really nervous. If it doesn't sell, I'll be like, great.
So if I were you, I'd bring some quick detailer and some rags and do it yourself before it goes through.
Let's see. So, where was it? Yeah, you said Super Performance is Saturday 11 to 2. I think it's gonna be more like 4 o'clock.
What was the run number on it?
It's 298.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be later in the day for sure.
Yeah. So it'll probably be I think they said it estimates probably 4 to 6, somewhere in there.
I bid on like 6 different cars too.
Oh, you bid on a bunch of other stuff?
Yeah. I didn't get anything, but it was fun bidding on them.
Nice.
One of them I was really close, and the guy runs up to you and he's like, "What do we got to do to make a deal? Come, let's do another 1,000. Do another 1,000." I'm like, "No, dude, calm down."
Uh,
That's good shit.
man,
But overall, it's pretty cool. It's fun. It's if you like that sort of thing, like I've been to, my last car business, I bought most of my cars at the auction, so it's kind of like it gets your adrenaline going when you're like cars coming up and you're bidding on it and you're trying to bid against other people and all this. It's intoxicating for me anyway.
Yeah. They didn't even give you a free drink when you started bidding?
No.
Ah, man.
No,
I wonder if they give you a drink if you win.
No, if you're Mecum Gold, which I think you have to pay extra for that.
Okay.
There's an open bar, I believe.
Oh,
But I don't know. And you have special seating with a cover over the seat in the middle.
ooh.
Yeah,
I'm
they
curious.
really have they have a science on all that whole process, don't they? They just make money in every turn.
Well, it
It's-
was really kind of cool too. And the guy's not like a celebrity or anything, but when I was on the bidders or on the sellers like podium thing, Dana Mecum was standing right next to me.
Oh, really?
He's like the founder.
Well, I mean, if I created that business, I would be there too.
Yeah, him and his son were both there. His son kind of runs everything, I think, now.
Oh, okay. I'm debating if we should go to Kissimmee because
I mean, if there's some, so they have the two LaFerraris were on display. There's an Aperta and a coupe, and they were on display, and they're going to sell at that Ferrari auction.
right. The only reason I want to go is because I want to see the Bachmann collection sell.
Yeah,
Are those the terrible spec ones? Is that collection?
There's a bunch of yellow ones.
yellow ones and I think white ones or something. Is it white too? Or?
There's a couple of white. It's mostly yellow. A lot of them are yellow and blue.
The Aperta, the LaFerrari Aperta was cool. It has has a stripe on the front, like the Italian flag stripe, but they had painted it to kind of fade, like the yellow fades into the stripe in the front.
Oh, cool.
And the whole roof is carbon fiber. It was pretty cool spec.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's selling 46 cars.
Jeez.
If it's that collection that has like some of the really terrible McDonald's yellow ones and like the yellow and green like PDF or whatever.
Well, one of the LaFerraris was a Ronald McDonald spec.
Yeah.
It was yellow with a red interior.
Yeah.
I just wonder, like, at what point do I become desperate? You become desperate enough. It's like, I'll buy the worst spec TDF. Worst spec speciale on the planet.
You can always wrap it. You can wrap it, and you can buy some seats and swap the seats and just keep the original seats, and you got the original paint underneath. You're good to go.
So that collection, when I went to the FCA Biltmore event, we got to go see the Bachmann collection at his storage facility or whatever it was that had them all, and actually got to meet Phil Bachmann and all that stuff and his wife and everything. I think.
Why are they selling everything? Do you know?
I don't know. Did he wasn't in super good health then, so.
Do you know what kind of deal he worked out with Ferrari to get all those cars?
So this is the part that's really crazy, and I don't think most people realize. He bought the last car of each series,
Right,
for like almost all of the cars that Ferrari ever made, to the point where a vast majority of his cars, it became like this thing where he's going to get the last car off the line. And so all the people would sign it, like all the people involved. So you pop the hood open on a lot of these cars, and it's just the entire thing is signatures of everyone who's everyone at Ferrari. And it's just like, holy shit, like this is amazing. So like lots of those cars are the last Ferrari of that thing made.
Mike. But how did he do that? Like Ferrari doesn't do that for just anybody.
He started buying them, from what I understand, in like the early 60s, and then he would always buy and buy and buy, and so then they just he did die. That's why they're selling it.
Oh, okay.
He died earlier this year. Man, when we saw him, he was in pretty poor shape, and this was like years ago. And I was like, "Ooh, like, all right."
They were the last cars on the line, and they were red.
What's that?
Just imagine how valuable they'd be if they were red in the last car.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I just can't get over it.
Oh man. Well,
I think the difference is nobody really cares about the McLarens.
Yeah, unfortunately.
oh, man. That's awful.
I thought that was a cool collection. That was a nice color and one of one shade of paint that only that collection had. So that was cool. But you know, I feel like you're almost buying that whole collection just for a McLaren F1 anyway. Everything else is like.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you imagine how much? Like, he's got some crazy cars in that collection, and they're all like. I was just scrolling through the Mecum listing. Like, La Ferrari Aperta has 96 miles.
Mm-hmm.
La Ferrari 157 miles. 458 Speciale Aperta 57 miles on it. Ferrari
Poor
F
cars.
I know, they're all rotting. He
There
never got
was-
to enjoy any of these.
There was
It wasn't
multiple
about
cars.
enjoying the cars to him. His enjoyment was getting the last one and having them on display for people to see and
I
everything.
guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
That's how he got his enjoyment out of them.
Yeah, I had multiple cars that I serviced that came in, and I PDI'd them, and then I serviced them through the years, and so you'd watch the mileage grow. And we would drive them before the service and after, and I 100% have like proof that I have driven this car more than this owner ever has.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So it was it was just always wild because the car would come back and you're like, oh look, it only went 9 miles because that's where
I
it's
was
stored
gonna say,
from the dealer.
How many times did you get a car where it left and the miles out with the same as the next time the miles in?
It was the same miles from just going to where it was stored to coming back to me. And it was always the hardest thing because you have to like look at the car and inspect it like you haven't seen it before, but you know it just went and got parked and then a year later came back.
Right.
So you're like, it's hard not to just go through the motions, but it was always wild to think because you're driving the car and you're like, this guy doesn't even drive it.
That's the other crazy thing is these people that end up with these massive collections of many cars. They have to have caretakers for the cars, and the caretakers are the ones who get to drive the cars. I always think about Glenn, and Glenn gets to drive.
He puts more miles on the cars than Jeff does.
Yeah, Glenn drives his stuff, drives Jeff's cars more than Jeff does because Jeff's busy.
I've been seeing Jeff a lot more lately.
I think he's kind of dialed it up lately, yeah. But
think
for a
that-
while there,
Rather, there's a good thing for him to go to every week. You know.
yeah. But you know, like, and that's the other crazy thing is, so let's say you own 52 car collection, and every year every car needs an oil change. That means you're changing an oil
Once
in
a
a
week.
car every week. That's just for oil changes.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many of those cars are having the tires time out? And then, you know, like, and batteries die and this and that and that and that. So it just gets nuts. David Lee's collection isn't that crazy massive. It's just highly focused and curated, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the exact number of cars he has is, but you know, it's not like some stupid large collection, but he has very interesting cars. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. Like, if you're a Ferrari collector and you consider the car art, it's cooler art than something that's on a wall. I mean,
They're
I'd
even
rather.
cooler when you're driving them, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, art doesn't require maintenance, though.
Generally,
You
yeah.
gotta dust it off every once in a while.
Depends on the art. A
Yeah,
flat surface doesn't take too much dust.
yeah. You got to make sure that the frame overhangs the
Yeah.
so that the dust can't get in.
Yeah. I really prefer paintings over statues because the dusting is just too much work.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta dust off my
I'm glad we
Michelangelo.
know your preference now.
Yeah,
I'll make sure to get you artwork and not statues. Got it.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that. Can't take a painting to red line.
it's true. Very true. There's definitely some advantages of the car. With the dust on Dan's GT40, market it as a barn find.
No,
Yeah,
I talked to a few of the Mecum guys and told them that the GT40 was ours, and they were like, "Oh, really?" They wanted to
nice.
talk about it. Yeah, so that was cool. It's kind of like the star of the show there.
I hope so. I hope it brings all the money, man.
There wasn't a lot of high dollar cars. Like
No.
I hardly saw anything over $100,000.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Today.
looking through the run list, there's not that many that are
Yeah.
200 or more, which that could be bad.
True statement.
Both parts of that are true. You've seen the hot crazy scale, right?
Oh yeah.
Hold on, I can probably find it somewhere.
I love that one. That one's. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Yep.
Google it.
Yeah, I'm hoping the market's pretty up on everything, so I'm hoping you might get a good number, Dan.
I mean, I set the reserve at a fairly reasonable number where I'd still lose money, but not completely get obliterated. So if it goes anywhere over the reserve, I'll be happy. If it gets super close to reserve, I already kind of told myself I'm not going to let it go below that. I'd rather just keep it. Because I kind of set it at like, what is the most painful number I can think of and still live with myself? And then, okay, that's the number. And I just kind of mentally told myself, if it goes over that, great. If it gets to that, okay.
What are the seller's fees with Mecum?
10%.
Oh yeah, definitely don't go under then.
No.
Yikes.
And I'm kind of excited that it won't sell, and then we'll see it on the Dragon again. That'd be cool.
I wouldn't be sad to take on the Dragon one more time. I mean, that's kind of my thing, is like, I won't be like totally despondent if I have to trailer it home and keep it for a little while longer. But I do need to, I've already mentally told myself it is time to move on. That car is not helping my company, is not helping my plans for what I would like to do. So it should go away. It's totally a non-emotional, logical decision that sucks to even think about, but it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's not that I need the money, it's that I think it's the wrong use of the money.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference, right? Like, I could,
I think you should buy it, Kevin.
Yeah, he should. Yeah, I think they have the thing called and the bid goes on, where they try and negotiate deals after the fact.
I walked through all of the bid goes on cars too after I did the auction thing to see if there was something I wanted to buy, but there's nothing.
Yeah.
Some of the cars brought a lot of money and didn't sell. I thought more than they should have been worth, and they didn't sell them. So I think some people are just not realistic.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, is they didn't really consult you on the reserve at all.
Well, they don't care because they still get your $1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have to pay $1,000 just to list the damn car.
Would you sell it before? Or is it too late at this point?
No, I wouldn't, because they would hit me with a 25% fee to pull it.
Jeez.
So, I mean, yeah, I would if it was more than 25%.
Do they want to pay the fee? Then sure.
Yeah.
Or just have them bid during the auction. That's easier.
Yeah. So as soon as I signed the paperwork or whatever, it was because my car is a star car or something like that, you can't pull it unless you pay a 25% fee. And it's 25% of the reserve.
Yikes.
So it's even more than than I would net. So it's
Do we get to drive it on Coda?
It seems like it.
Oh yeah. You already told us that. You already told me that.
Yeah,
Which
but
car
do we
you-
get to drive it on Coda?
I mean, I think that's your storage fee.
Yeah.
That's only fair.
Yeah.
What events in June?
There's an event. Oh, I know what it's in June. It's the Corsa Cliente.
Oh, cool.
Or is it Corsa Pelote? Whatever.
Either one, yeah.
Yeah, one of
That's
those.
cool. All right. That'd be fun.
Yeah. What day are you leaving, Greg?
Friday morning.
Of next week?
Yeah.
Oh, that's making me feel a little better.
Well, we'll see. I talked to FedEx today, and they said it takes 3 business days typically to clear customs. So we have Friday, Monday, Tuesday, then maybe it gets here Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be tight.
Okay.
But I might bring the Alpha by on Saturday, and we might just have to take one of the tips off. So it's just 2 tips.
Well, can you take them all off? I mean, how far do they stick out? I didn't really get to see it.
They're pretty sunk in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would actually worry it could burn the bumper if you pulled off the tips.
Yeah. Well, either that or we put the stock exhaust back on. So.
Hell no. Oh, you gotta come collect that turd box anyway.
Well, I've been trying to figure out, am I going to drive the car over for you guys to put that back on, or what are we going to do? So,
Do we need to like have a comb party?
I don't think that's going to happen.
no, right? I called FedEx like 4 times today.
Is there a way you can get a generic exhaust tip from somewhere?
I've tried because it's a 2.75-inch inlet tip, so it's a very odd size. I could probably go to like Russell Motorsports and they can maybe weld something up. So that's an option, but just like it's so close to the tip being here at this point, it's like it's just down to the wire.
I think it'll if they told you 3 days, it's probably going to take less than that, I would think, and then it'll be here in 2 days after that.
Yeah. Well, I just keep trying because literally I'm waiting for it to say customs delay. They don't have the information. And I just like tell the person every time, like, it's stainless steel from Italy. Just ship it freaking mail.
I'm just waiting for the invoice. The second invoices, I'll be like, pay.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be another invoice. I told him that too. I was like, whatever amount of money it takes, just send it. I don't care. We'll pay it. But yeah.
I'm gonna go reload.
Yep. Do we need to like drive Dan's loop and search all the ditches and like get a scratched one and put it on the car for the trip?
It'll be. I mean, I would totally do that, but it'll be too long. But we'll figure it out.
Fair enough.
I think it'll show up.
Yeah, get an O'Reilly special and just worm gear it on there really tight.
Well, I just heard that somebody going on the trip has a trailer, but I don't know how much room for cars are on that trailer. So I might be like, why don't we just take the STO because it has exhaust tips? But we'll see.
Fair enough.
It would kind of defeat the purpose considering I did literally buy this car for this trip.
Yeah.
But
there's worse problems in life.
There's some on Amazon you could get that might work.
Have you sent me what you found? The ones I looked at didn't seem to be the right length because they have to be like 5 inches long, and a lot of the ones that are there are like 12 inches, so they're more like truck.
Well, but couldn't you slip it further over?
Here, I'll send you this one, Greg, and see.
Does it have a bend?
Well, there's only so much room before where the muffler is back there.
Yeah.
So you just.
This one says it's adjustable at 2.5 to 3 inch, and it's 7 inches long.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah. Is that man mass 7 inches or inches? What are we talking about?
Like I normally say 7 is, or a real 7, or
Yeah.
well,
There you go.
well, now I have to use it to drive to work on, every now and then. So
You still have the Ice Storm Metallic Fusion, right?
yeah, that's why I use that for most of my regular commuting stuff. But
It's already the alpha's turned into the non-commuter that was supposed to be the commuter.
well, it's the daily, I don't want
Whatever you got to tell yourself, Greg.
Right.
I'm sure at some point it'll turn into a Spider RS or something else. I don't know, but I want
we still got the bus, man. You want to buy it? It's for sale. 25 G's.
Everybody asks about it. Nobody wants to buy it.
Actually, you know who I had a phone call with that was interested in possibly buying it is Scott.
Why would he want it?
Yeah.
He had a business idea to use for it.
What was that?
I don't want to spill the beans in case he does it.
Oh, please tell me it's the OnlyFans shuttle in Miami.
Oh, he could put the logo on the side.
Oh my God, that
It's
would
a
be
different kind of bang bus there.
They have to tint the windows really dark.
Oh my God, dude, that's hilarious.
The doilies won't be on the seats. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
We could just get the Malibu seat covers from Dan's Max. We could just put it,
gross.
and then it's totally fine.
Oh, Tyler, did you follow up on that boo?
Not yet. Work's sucked again this week, so I need to.
Yeah, I
I don't think anybody's buying it, so you got time.
Yeah, right.
They added engine shots. It looks clean. Like they overly cleaned it, which is like either suspect or it's actually 68,000
That's
miles.
what the $100 tire shine engine bay detail looks like.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
We'll
Tire
see.
shine on the engine bay. Hell yeah.
My boss is like, "Yeah, I'll drive out there and look at it for you," because he's in Tampa. So I'm like, all right.
I mean, I don't even think you need someone to look at it.
Well, I just wanted to like see if there's milk in the oil cap or anything.
Yeah.
How rusty is it?
Where is? Oh, I sent that picture to you. That's why it's in the wrong folder.
Yeah, John, that car is definitely a biohazard. The car's terrible.
So I thought I'd show you guys. This was my brake pad on the truck.
Oh yeah.
Is that
Plenty of
focusing?
life left.
Man, your new rotors are going to be awesome.
Why'd you let it get that bad? Weren't your brakes feeling like shit?
No. So you remember a couple months ago, I was with you in the truck, and I'm like, "Oh, is that my brake squealer?" And you're like, And we were both kind of like, "I don't know. Maybe it didn't sound. It wasn't that loud." So we're like, "Nah, maybe not." And so I just kind of ignored it, and like every once in a while, I'd hear a tiny little bit of squealy squeal, and I'm like, but it wasn't like. Usually, it's pretty like consistent. Like you tap the brakes and you can hear the squealers, and this would only do it under very like it was just not, doing a lot. So finally, when I was hauling the trailer up to Dallas, I was like braking hard with the trailer, and I could hear it going. And I'm like, ooh. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna use some extra distance and brake extra soft now that I've got, like 18,000 pounds of trailer behind me. So after that,
you get your brakes like that, and you get that early ABS.
yeah, where it's vibrating. Well, actually, so admittedly, I was like, okay, I told myself during that drive, I'm like, I can't drive any further. But then I had the next day to fly out. So I had to drive it to the airport. So I was like, shit, I'm not going to be able to do the brakes until I get back. And I'm like, I don't think I'll have time on Wednesday. So I'm going to have to do it Thursday. So I'm going to have to drive it like 3 more times with this shitty brake. And when I was driving it to the shop today, it got to a point where I could actually tell as the metal was touching metal and it started to bite into the rotor.
Dang.
because I could feel it. Like I could feel it all of a sudden start grabbing really hard, and I had the same brake pressure. I'm like, ooh, that is definitely doing damage. And that rotor is totally screwed. I mean, it is just massacred. I was like, well, out with that one.
Yep. Dang.
But it was only the one pad that was doing that. The others actually still had a little bit of life left, so it wasn't totally screwed. But oh well. And actually, the rear rotors, totally fine. I bought new rear pads and rotors, and they were like they had, I don't know, probably like 8 millimeters left.
Oh wow.
So I was like, screw that, we're leaving
The
those.
fronts are doing that much work in that truck?
Yeah.
Dang. All right.
Well, it's got the diesel engine right there. I mean,
Well, with how much you tow, though. I mean, I know that the trailer's braking, but seems like a big mismatch.
well, that's pretty good though. It's got 86,000 miles on it.
It's the first set.
First set of
Oh,
brakes.
shit. All right, yeah.
But-
With how much towing you've done, that's pretty good then.
That
I was
is
gonna
pretty
say, I've towed like 48,000 miles.
Jeez. Yep. All right, I take it back. That's good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did pretty. I mean, but you gotta consider if you're towing, you're mostly on the highway.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I was city towing; I was highway towing. So you're not braking that hard with it. But your Mecum uses the rears more than the fronts. That's got to be like a traction control thing or something, right?
Yeah.
Or like
Typically,
that is kind of weird.
like stability control.
Yeah, like all the Ferraris use that, really starting with like 430s and on up. So when you're really getting on it, it's going to actually intervene, not cut the throttle like most traction controls do. It's actually going to start applying the rear brakes. So a lot of people are completely unaware that it's just squeezing the rear calipers to just slow down that loss of traction. And they're the driver's just completely unaware. So it's actually really bad on the 488 challenge cars because the traction control in those cars have so much torque, and the drivers just go full throttle out of a corner, and they're just chewing through rear brakes like it's no one's business, and the front brakes are fine.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So
That's
all
why,
in traction control.
yeah, like when I track the Scud, you have to make sure you drive it either all off or CST off, so you don't up the rear brakes.
Yeah. It takes quite a bit of work, in my opinion, to get a Ferrari to cut throttle from you in traction control. It'll do everything it can before it cuts power and ruins the driving experience, so to speak. So all the ABS is a Bosch ABS, and it has its default Bosch software, but Ferrari overrides it with its own software, which is all the F1 track and the side slip control and all that stuff. So they're making it do more than what Bosch intends, but they do use it heavily for traction control.
Interesting. Well, that makes sense. Well, my truck doesn't have that problem.
You just need to track it more often. Come on.
Yeah. Apparently, I need to stab the gas more and come into the corners harder, and it does actually like blow the tires off from a standstill if you just floor it, but it takes a moment for the turbo to kick in.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't roll them, and all of a sudden the turbo starts to spool up, and then it starts to spin them.
Yep. Gotta love the diesel torque.
Yeah. I've also lit them up while towing too, which is pretty fun. Who is this guest? Seems to know his scat.
He's the only one of us here with any actual qualifications.
Yeah, to talk about Ferrari.
Right. Oh yeah, I want to see many hundreds of thousands of miles on this thing. I mean, I love that truck, and I mean, it's got a Cummins, so I figure the Cummins is probably good for at least $500,000 before it needs anything substantial.
Yep.
I fully expect to probably have to replace the transmission somewhere around like 250,000 miles. That's kind of what I told myself when I bought it. I'm like, I'll buy this knowing I'm going to have to replace the transmission at some point, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So
So your plan is a 2 transmission ownership?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Go to 3.
Seriously, yeah, it's 2 transmissions, or once the infotainment or whatever gets so outdated that it doesn't do whatever I need it to do anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's pretty good. Like I still don't feel like there's a few things that have come out since then that I kind of wish it had. Like the one feature I don't have that I really wish I had for when I'm doing these long trips is adaptive cruise control. Because I would love to not have to sit there and
surprised it doesn't have that. That's crazy.
When that came out when I was working at BMW, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then I owned a car with it, and I hate it after using it.
Really?
Because I found that I'll turn it on, and it does exactly what I think, and then you shut your brain off, and you're not actively driving. And then I get pissed off because I don't realize I'm sitting behind some idiot going 55, and I'm like, what am I doing back here? Because you're just so disengaged. So
that's true. That's true.
I find that I don't use it because I end up getting more aggravated with it than it does what it's supposed to do. But then you're having a conversation or thinking about something else, and then you're not aware enough to realize that you slowed down.
Yep.
Yeah. I do feel like it makes people worse drivers.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, if it gave me like a warning, like, hey, you've been going 55 far too long, you've been trending at 80. It's like,
yeah. Well, no, what it really needs to do is like every time it has to go below the cruise that you set, it should like be flashing that on the screen, like you're not going your optimum speed.
Yep.
ABP, always be passing.
I like it.
I love always be passing.
My first car that had that was the best drive I've ever had through Colorado, because I just set it on 95, and no matter what the traffic was doing, I was just always right there with them. It's like, oh, this is great. Like all I do is pass and steer.
The thing is, when you're towing, you're not going that fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like traffic through Colorado Springs and Denver was like 30 to 90, and it was like, well, I'm just gonna set this on 95 and let the car do it. And it was relaxing. It was nice.
When you're towing for 16 hours, you're going basically the speed limit, and so and everyone is like not wanting to be behind you because you have a big ass trailer and all this stuff. So it's a totally different style of driving, and I have to mentally tell, like, I am not one to like that. Like, I hate going the speed limit. I hate letting cars come in front of me and do all that shit, whatever. Like, I always want to kind of have a clear lane and whatever. So, but when I tow, I just eliminate all of that out of my brain and just mentally I'm like, I'm just going to relax. I'm just going to go the speed limit. I'm just going to roll with it. And it's chill,
We honked it on pretty good going to Tennessee, or
I mean, okay, so set it for like 5 to 10 over, depending on. I don't really like going too fast because then the aerodynamics start just crushing your mileage.
Well, and it's not safe if you have a blowout or something. But.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's got 3 axles, so
true. That trailer's better off than some.
Like, you lose a tire, you'd be like, shit, we should probably take that wheel off. I did have tire let go on the tandem axle short trailer, and it was like, actually I think I've had 2 flats, and then I had a blowout. And the blowout, actually Josh was with me. It flung a chunk of rubber like 150 feet up in the air, like it just went, and like dang. It like went way out. Like I could see it my mirror go and fling off, and it went up past where my mirror could see. And like 5-6 seconds later, I saw it come back down. I'm like, oh shit! Like that sucker went high. Of course, then it was like in the middle of the road, and I'm like, oh god, someone's gonna hit that, and I had to like run back and get it out of the road and be a good doobie because I'm not one of those asshole truckers that leaves their treads in the road.
Yep.
I hate that. Like that they just like sling off tires all over the place, and then anyway.
Yeah.
Lost the wheel on my triple axle enclosed heading to Georgia and didn't even know it until we stopped.
Dang.
I mean, I can see that the triple axles, like, if you lose, depending on what axle you lose, I think if you lost a front one, it would probably
the whole wheel. Did the like the lugs shear off or something, or what happened?
Yeah, I'm curious. Did you lose a tire or did you lose a wheel? Like the wheel was gone. And if you lost a wheel, was it like the bearing blew out and you just disintegrated off the axle, or that would have been pretty crazy.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
That would do it.
All right.
All right, I got a question for you, Nick.
Yes.
And Greg and Josh and John in the chat have heard this before. So, what causes on the Ferraris the airspeed in the car to change when you let off the throttle?
The airspeed? You mean like the AC?
Yeah, like the fan speed.
Oh,
I don't know if I've ever noticed that or
My
had a
only-
customer complain of it.
My
Okay.
guess would be voltage change, because the alternator's spinning faster when the RPMs are higher, maybe.
Well, what car are you asking about, Tyler?
48.
So 48s have the smart alternator, which is the complete opposite of that. So that alternator, they try to use it kind of like a Curtis system, like a hybrid generator. So the logic is terrible. So it's actually going to not be charging when he's accelerating and try to charge as much as possible on deceleration.
Does it have a clutch on it?
48, I don't think so. They did the clutches on the 812s. I don't remember on 488.
So how does it activate or deactivate?
The NCMs control the logic of it. It's just turning off the current field for it to charge and not charge. That's why, in my opinion, why a lot of 48s have battery issues. Because when they were new, even with the car sitting on a battery maintainer, the customer would come and get the car and had a dead battery. And there's a sensor on the battery that's measuring the state of charge. And I am adamant that the maintainer would put a false sense of charge in that sensor, then the sensor didn't have a real idea of what the battery state of charge was. Then you drive the car and the alternator's like, oh, I don't need the charge, it's good. And it really wasn't good because it had a surface charge, and then the car would be dead. Yeah, I had a dead battery on a 48 was so frequent, and you'd get the car and you would find nothing wrong with it. You would test it extensively. You'd give it back, and then it would be dead when the guy comes to pick it up. And you're just
What was the solution to that?
It's Ferrari. They admitted no problem. There is no solution. What problem are you talking about?
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with this system.
So
I think it's buy an F8.
Yeah.
F8s, all the new cars have it. It started
does
with
the 458 have that?
No. So it's one thing I'm curious about. I'm curious of all these tuners that are tuning them. I actually wonder if they can go in and when they flash these ECUs, to just flash that alternator to charge at 13.9 all the time. Eliminate that problem.
Interesting.
It was difficult under warranty because Ferrari would not
admit.
They would not acknowledge it. Yeah, they would not acknowledge it. And then you have the customer that has this issue, and they, as the dealer or the factory, is just like, no, there's no problem. Not possible.
What do you do? I mean, if the battery's dead and won't charge, I mean,
a lot of times we just eat the battery. I mean, it gets into the battery sensor and the way it would read the state of health, because I'd have a car that I'd pull in, and it's also the way we had a specific tester we had to use to test the batteries. And it's like just like those handheld electronic testers, which I'm not a fan of, because they don't actually tell the true story of a state of charge of a battery. So if the car drove in, I could do a test. I did this on a Giulia. It came in with they had the same problems. Dead battery. I drove it like 3 miles to the dealership because we picked it up. I test the battery and it says it's good. Like 1,200 whole cranking amps. And I'm like, yeah, no, there's no way. This thing had 2 volts like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And then you shut the car off. The car would start again. It was fine. And then I'd leave the ignition on for 5 minutes, come back, and redo that same battery test. And it's saying it has 15 amps in it, and the battery's junk. So part of it is like the technology those modern battery testers are using to test the battery is the same thing that those sensors that are in the car are using to measure the battery. And it's not as accurate as like an actual load test like you do back in the day with a VAT40, where you would load the battery and see what it's doing. So I think that the technology is not quite there to do the logic that they're trying to do on a normal lead acid battery or an AGM battery.
Yeah.
So speaking of this exact problem, we can look at my new present. I bought my Alpha for my trip.
Yeah.
It's right here next to me. So this is my portable charging device I can keep in the car all the time.
Yep.
It's a good
Well,
move.
so I asked the question because that's my biggest complaint with my car is unless you just have the fan speed on low, like if it's on auto, when you're driving, you can hear and have a conversation in the car. When you let off, the fan speed goes to full blast. Like, you have to scream inside the cabin to talk to someone.
Well, I mean, you should in your instrument cluster, you should be able to put up your battery voltage and watch your battery voltage. And so drive your car and see if there's a correlation of your fan speed to your voltage. Because if you're decelerating, it's trying to, because if you watch the charge rate, sometimes it's like 15 volts.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. They're like, you need to give that battery a whistle to protect itself. And if it's doing that and they didn't design that fan circuit to kind of have a buffer or to limit that voltage spike, that could be why it's doing it, where it's starting to overcharge on deceleration to try to make up for the fact that it hasn't been charging the battery for the past 5 miles. And then your blower motor is used to seeing 13 volts. Now it's getting 15.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
but again, if you ask Ferrari, there's no problem.
Yeah. Well, because apparently there used to be in like the 308s and stuff, there used to be an airspeed sensor that would go out all the time and it's buried under the dash, and that still exists, but it's not listed on any of the car. Like, if you go to Eurospares and pull up all the diagram sheets or whatever, it's only listed on the LaFerrari, and it says it applies to every car 458 and newer.
I'm not familiar with an airspeed. There's an interior temp sensor in the car.
Yeah. I forget the exact part name, but it's like buried inside the dash, inside the blower motor. Like, great. I don't want to replace that either, but I'll check the battery thing first.
I know like half the 458s I've ever driven have weird climate control issues where it'll blow hard and then it changes its mind and it blows soft.
I'd say never run the 458 on auto.
Yeah.
For the AC, it just drives you nuts. Just set it to a fan speed you want and then adjust the temperature to what you want. That's the way to go. Because if you put it on auto, it's like, and then it's just all over the place.
It's just definitely tied to the throttle pedal on the 48. So when you're like trying to like not shift and maintain a speed in traffic, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
But
the other thing is sometimes I swear to God, it's like in the auto mode, it tries to change where it's blowing the air. And so a brief period of time, it will start like making a ton of noise. But you'll feel like if you actually like feel the vents, you'll see it's not pushing as much air out the vents. It'll be like blasting out the defroster or out the footwells or some weird shit. Because, Ferrari. That's why.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I guess the anti-gravity would be the next step, but then I got to figure out. I got to get a different plug for the maintainer.
The maintainer.
Yep.
You just need
does the 488 have the magnetic one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have those.
Yep. We have those.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I need to make.
Well, the the polarity's reversed.
Right.
Because the Pista uses a lithium battery.
Oh. Would you have to do that? Just to prevent like a dealership from slapping a regular one on?
No, we would use the regular one because
the
wiring is set up for a regular battery. So we just slap the anti-gravity and it should be fine. You just got to get a different maintainer.
Yeah. Well, I already have a lithium one from the McLaren. But
oh, okay. Well, there you go.
That was we found that one out the hard way because we sold someone one of our adapters who had a Pista. And he's like, hey, I can't use the thing. The polarity of the magnet's reversed. We're like, what? And so we sent him another one. We're like, okay, well, the part must be bad, right? So we sent him another one. Same thing. And so then I like researched it and I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. They flopped the north and south pole of the magnet on the Pistas so that it won't connect unless you have the specific lithium charger, which is actually kind of smart.
That's smart.
But it was nice of them to like let us know. So of course that's Ferrari's way of like, oh, now we can sell $1,000 lithium charger instead of the $120 one that comes from C-Tech.
Well, in their defense, they don't want you hooking up a regular maintainer to a lithium battery.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Does the anti-gravities protect themselves if you do that?
No, I mean it will still charge the anti-gravity. It's not a problem for the charge. It's the maintaining.
Yeah,
the
it's the
cycle.
way it cycles it, right?
Yeah, because then it starts cycling it after it's done, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Just don't do it, Tyler. Fires.
John, I want to make something for this at some point, which I plan on doing when I have time.
Yeah.
I bought all the parts to do it. I just haven't
Yeah,
got
so
it.
we bought the connector for the car side.
Mm.
We just haven't like ever gotten around to. The problem is you would have to run the wires from the cabin all the way to the back.
I was thinking about doing the plug somewhere in the front,
Yeah, could you do it in the wheel well or something?
something like that. Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe.
I just crushed the wire at my door. It's okay.
Oh, you find a hole.
That's fine.
There's holes. You find a hole.
Although I was surprised the STO doesn't use a lithium battery. So he uses a big AGM.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll say Lamborghini uses lithium for quite a few cars too now, right?
I think the Urus uses a lithium battery.
I would say the Urus has some specific crazy battery that's like super expensive.
We actually have those kits to convert those to regular battery.
Yeah.
I'm excited if I keep the STO for a while, I'll be able to drop like 20 pounds of the battery out of it.
Yeah.
And I had to buy a regular 430 battery tray, so that way for the Scud for its next service, I can put an anti-gravity in it.
Mm.
So
The Scud's got a different battery tray?
yeah, it uses a 34R for the Optima red top or whatever it is. It doesn't fit the standard 430 battery.
Did it?
Of course.
God, I'm trying to remember like when I played with my Scud. I don't think I ever did. Maybe I didn't ever put an anti-gravity in. So I put an anti-gravity in like quite a few of the cars I owned. Huh.
Yeah,
What size did you say it is?
Well, it's normally a 34R, I think, for the
34R is like a little wider but shorter, right?
yeah, something like that. And
Well,
the
it's got the terminals reversed in the R's, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
yeah, I don't know why, but just another one of those things. But as
Okay.
soon as I thought a used battery tray pop up on Eurospares, I bought it like a year and a half ago, and it's just been sitting in a box.
Of course.
That happens to all of us. Like in the moment, you're like, "This is a great idea," and then you're like, "Oh, the execution part kind of sucks."
I kept thinking I was like waiting for the car to show any signs of battery trouble, and then it's like, oh, now it's time to swap, but it's been just trucking along.
I swear to God, that's how it is. Like when you want the batteries to die, so you're like, "I'm ready to replace the battery." They just keep going and going and going.
To be very clear to the car gods, I do not want to pay to replace.
Oh God, that reminds me. I bought a battery for the GT40 like 4 months ago, and I still don't have it.
Dang.
Anti-gravity?
No, the anti-gravity didn't make one for the GT40 because it's a very, very unusual size. Oh, someone just bought something.
Money,
I
please.
need to email myself to dig in on that tomorrow because that pisses me off. They have my money.
Yeah, to do Wheelie's comment, the box pile. Yeah, my box has 2 window switches, a battery tray, 2 O2 sensors, and two maps.
All right, that's. Let's see. Oh, no one asked tonight. I'm surprised. Inventory. What's the inventory status? We have no inventory.
Still.
Basically. So we've got a possible deal on the Porsche Cayenne. We'll see. So it's the first person that was really interested in it, took a test drive. We'll see what happens there. We still got the Audi TT S, and we still have the coaster bus, and then we have the yellow 360 that is converted to a manual, which we'll be getting back from Machina. Well, maybe tomorrow. maybe.
Yeah, we need to go get it tomorrow.
So then the black 458, which is the car that I flew out to California to go look at the trade-in, we did not take the trade-in. Turns out the trade-in was not what we expected. So that car went back on the market on Wednesday, and I got a deposit on it today. It was back on the market for a total of like 26 hours.
Nice.
I was like, all right, cool. And holy crap, that talk about one of those like drag race to the finish. There was legitimately 5 people trying to buy that car all at the same time. And I was like,
I think we had it priced too cheap, maybe.
I think so, but whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fine with the price we got. So with that being a deposit, that car's off the market. The Kuyo 360 is pending investigation of that car's trade-in on Tuesday of next week, which it's a Porsche, so the chances of it being okay are higher.
Isn't it like a Targa 4S or something?
I don't know if it's a 4S. It's definitely a Targa. It's not a Turbo S or Turbo. I think it was a Targa 4S. But it looked really nice. It's red. Looked really nice.
Oh, speaking of Porsches, you know about this, Dan, but
okay, yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and I didn't tell it. You can tell about it. I didn't.
Okay. So we have a buddy who owns a body shop in Liberty Hill, and he's one of the only Porsche certified body shops in Central Texas. And he called me the other day, and he's like, "Hey, I have this GT3 RS that I bought that's been wrecked in the front and needs to be fixed. And they're trying to build, the short version is they're trying to do some renovations to their property. And he's like, I need to clear up some money. So let's like do some partnership on this car and let's fix it and drive it and then sell it." And I'm like, all right. So I went and looked at it and I was like, oof.
I see it. It's bad.
But then he shows me like next to it, he has a box with a brand new front end for the car in it. And apparently the whole front of the car comes off and just you put a new one on. It's crazy. The entire front cradle. And
that's cool.
Yeah, he's got all the parts. So we're gonna do it. It's a 2019 GT3 RS with like 6,000 miles on it, and it still has a clean title.
Nice.
And so it'll be Porsche certified, repaired, and then we're gonna sell it, and it'll be cheap, way cheaper than a regular 3 RS, and it'll be fixed to perfection.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
What color?
it's black. It's black with it, and it has black and green interior, lizard green interior. It's got carbon ceramics. It's got the carbon buckets. It's a pretty good spec.
Yep, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's apparently eventually going to be in inventory.
He said about 3 months. So it'll give us some stuff to film while they're working on it.
Are we taking out on the floor plan for that?
I'm not sure yet what we're gonna do.
Okay.
I'll explain the deal after we
Okay.
shut down.
Yeah. Not publicly.
I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah. Okay. 3 months.
Did you talk about the title of the video again? Did we make it through the whole thing again without doing that?
The title video?
The title of this video, Striking Out on Inspections.
Oh, no, I didn't. Well, now we have 4 minutes left. 5 minutes, 4 minutes left. All right. Yeah. So inspections. Yeah, which was related to what I was just talking about. I flew out to California to go check out this car on trade. It was a 430 that was going to be on trade for this 458. And I don't want to like sit here and say what was wrong with it or whatever, because it's not really, in case the guy wants to sell it. But let's just say there were some issues with it that he was unaware of that were very significant to the point where like we had an agreed upon value. And I was like, I don't even know if I could offer him $40,000 less.
Jeez.
I was like, I don't even think that's going to be enough. Like, it would have to be more than that. And it was like, ooh, okay. And he's like, well, I can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't expect you to. And I don't really want the car, even if it was that price, because it was going to be a pain in the ass to fix. So I was like, no. So I was a little bit, it was funny because I called Meg and I was really kind of upset because I'm like, because we've been striking out. Like Josh and I, of all the inspections we've been doing lately, I think we've rejected about 50% of them, which is historically extremely high for us. Like it used to be, I would swear, like 1 in 10 we would reject, right? And I don't know if it's that the cars on the market are getting worse or people aren't describing them as good as they used to, or I don't know. I don't know what's causing it to where we're getting out there and then stuff's showing up on these cars that dramatically alter the agreed upon value. We're to the point where we're like, we have to walk away. And it sucks because like I was saying, I was really beating myself up because I'm like, man, I just spent like $1,000 on a flight and a hotel and a car rental, and I'm out here in Los Angeles, and I was trying to like get home the same day, and I couldn't. It just wasn't going to work. So I'm like, damn it, now I'm going to lose a day and a half on this trip. And Meg was like, you got to stop looking at it as like you spent $1,000. You got to look at it as you just walked away from losing $30,000-$40,000. I'm like, okay, that's kind of valid. Because if we had bought that car without looking at it, we would have taken an absolute bath on that car. I mean, we would have gotten just our asses kicked. So, I don't know. It was just what? Oh.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, it's modular. They come in 6-packs. You just like crack open another one. Like
I busted Malibu's in the back.
Yeah, I busted a Malibu. All right, here's another one, man.
The dealer I found the one that I like. All of a sudden has like 3 around $3,000. So just saying.
Ask for a bundle deal to get all of them for $3,000. So
there you go. Let's do a package deal.
Dude, buy one, get 2 free.
One, they just posted the pictures from the auction. Like they haven't even done it yet.
I will say actually a lot of dealers are getting pretty lazy with that. I'll see like the listing photos that might go on like one of the wholesale like Facebook groups or whatever. Or like the dealer will just take the photo straight from that listed on Auto Trader with that exact photo.
And those guys can't afford to have their money tied up when they have a floor plan they pay 20% to and $50 a day.
Dude,
brutal.
Yeah, on a car that's going to be only worth $3,000 and it has like $1,000 margin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nope. Well, that's pretty much it for the night. All right. Well, there you go. So I'll be going up to Mecum on Saturday. So I don't know what time the GT40 runs. I think it's going to be close to 4:00. We'll see. We actually still have our Saturday morning car meet on Saturday at 8 a.m. So I'm going to have to bail at like 10 on the dot. I can't hang around very long. And our 100K celebration is going to be on December 6th for sure. So if you want to join us, let's see. Let me add the link right here. 1 second. There you go. Go to that, ngsc.me/100K. God, sorry. By the way, like it's definitely allergy season in Austin right now.
Oh yeah.
That wind kicked it all up. So if you want to join us for the 100K celebration, please register. It's free to come. It's absolutely free, but we just need to know how many people are coming. So I need to know how much brisket to make Tyler,
I got
make.
a lot of work to do, and I don't want to do too much or too little. So
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to. It's expensive, dude. Beef is so expensive right now.
well, yeah.
I do not want to waste a bunch of beef. It's like that.
Maybe we should do pork.
Okay, I mean, we could do both.
I mean, yeah.
Because the beef is no joke.
Oh, I know. I've been thinking about different things like half chickens or
We could do
whole
turkey.
pig.
We could do turkey and pork or sausage or something.
Yeah. Well, sausage has beef in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
True.
do maybe 2 briskets or so and a couple pork shoulders.
Yeah, well, let's just see how many people we
Let's see how
get.
many people are coming.
I don't want
That's
to
what
commit
really
to anything yet.
Kevin's
Yeah.
asking no questions. How
It
many?
depends on how many people show up, Kevin.
What? How many pans of corn mac? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best. Mm.
A 4-inch deep hotel pan can fit a 6 times batch in it. So,
Holy crap!
but
That's a
12
lot.
will be way too much. But
Yeah. Well, dude, that stuff's always gone.
true.
Like
I only
it
have
is-
one portable steam tray though. So
And this time I'll bring a car so I can just take the pan. And then
there you go.
Nice.
We could do this with just some cauliflower. Everyone
Get
shows up and it's a vegan barbecue.
Get out.
It cost you like $100 for the whole thing.
No. No. Well, so that will be December 6th. I think we're gonna do it at 10 a.m. Because it'll be colder and darker and whatever that time of year. So yeah, there you go. December 6th. If you want to join us, it'll be fun. We'll probably do a drive. Probably. I'm guessing before. No.
well, I'll be driving down from Dallas, so
Oh, because I would say you can't really do it after, because then people are drinking beer and
I don't think we do a drive. Maybe we could do a drive on Sunday. Anybody that wants to come, we could set up something on Sunday.
That'd be cool.
there you go. Like have some leftovers and go on a drive.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, that's all what's coming up for the moment. So those of you who've asked, I still have 2 more videos with Nick that I haven't put out yet. So I haven't quite finished editing them. We took the work on that 360, the silver 360, and I split it up into 3 videos because I edited it as one video and it ended up being like 2 hours 45 minutes long. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. So I broke it up into 3 pieces. So those should be coming out soon. And yeah, that's about it for now. So that's it. We'll see you guys next week.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.